In 2022, a finance director in London got the promotion he had been working toward for 6 years. Salary went from £90,000 to £140,000. He celebrated. His family celebrated. His mortgage broker celebrated. 12 months later, he was just as trapped as he had been at 90,000. Different number. Same cage. What he discovered, in a conversation he almost didn't have, was not a budgeting tip, not a saving strategy, not a side hustle. It was the one mechanism that turns every salary into a ceiling, no matter how high the ceiling moves. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why earning more has not made you more free. Marcus Reid earned more money than 94% of people his age. He also had less financial freedom than he had at 26. Not because he was careless, not because he was irresponsible, not because he made bad decisions, because every time his income grew, his life grew to meet it. At 26, a one-bedroom flat, a used car, savings that actually accumulated. At 34, a family home, 2 cars, private school fees, holidays that reflected his position. At 41, a larger home, a better car, a lifestyle that now required every single penny of £140,000 to maintain. He was not living beyond his means. He was living exactly at his means, which meant that stopping, illness, redundancy, restructuring would not create a problem. It would create a collapse. He calculated it once, quietly on a Sunday. How long could he sustain his current life without a salary? The answer was 4 months. 14 years of exceptional performance. 14 years of growing income. 4 months of runway. He sat with that number for a long time. Then called a man he had met once at an industry conference. A man who had said something Marcus had written down and kept. The salary is not the problem. The relationship with the salary is the problem. What that man explained next, nobody had ever told Marcus. And it explains why most high earners never actually get free. They met on a Wednesday evening. A quiet bar in the city. Arthur Blake was already there. Gray suit. Silver hair. A glass of water. No phone visible. Marcus sat down. Told him the number. For months. Arthur did not react with surprise. Arthur said, "What does your salary do for you, beyond paying for your life?" Marcus thought. Marcus said, "It pays for everything." Arthur said, "Exactly. It pays for everything. Which means it builds nothing." There is a difference, and most high earners never see it, between income that sustains a life and income that builds a position. Your salary has been doing the first thing for 14 years. Has it been doing the second? Marcus said, "Not really." "No." Arthur said, "Then here is what I want you to understand. You are not trapped by your salary. You are trapped by what your salary has been trained to do. And what it has been trained to do, by every raise, every promotion, every lifestyle upgrade, is disappear. Completely. Every month. Without building anything that continues after it stops." Marcus said, "But I earn well. Surely the answer is to earn more." Arthur said, "That is exactly what the trap wants you to believe. Let me show you why. At 26, you earned 40,000. You saved. You had margin. At 34, you earned 80,000. The margin disappeared. At 41, you earn 140,000. The margin is still gone. Where did the extra £100,000 go?" Marcus was quiet. Arthur said, "It went to the life that the 100,000 required. The house that matched the income. The schools that matched the position. The holidays that reflected the salary. The car that suited the role. This is not recklessness. This is the most natural thing in the world. Human beings expand to fill available space. And income is available space. Now think about your own situation. Look at your income 3 years ago and your income today. What happened to the difference? Because if the honest answer is, it went to life, then you are inside this trap right now. Arthur said, "Here is what makes it specifically dangerous for high earners. The more you earn, the more invisible the trap becomes. Because at 40,000, you can feel the constraints. At 140,000, the constraints are invisible. Everything feels available. Everything feels chosen. Nothing feels like a trap. And so the trap never gets examined. Because a comfortable trap does not announce itself." Arthur said, "Here is the mechanism that makes the salary a permanent ceiling, regardless of the number. Every pound of income that goes to sustaining life creates zero future income. Every pound that goes to building ownership creates compounding future income. Most high earners, almost universally, direct nearly all of their income to the first category. and nearly none to the second. Not because they are foolish, because the first category is immediate. The house is real today. The school fees are due today. The car payment is today. The compounding ownership, the thing that would eventually make the salary optional, is always in the future. And the future consistently loses to the present. Every month. For 14 years. This is why the salary becomes a ceiling. Not because the number is too low, but because 100% of it goes to sustaining the present, and 0% goes to building the future that makes the present optional. Write that down, because that one sentence explains where 14 years of raises actually went. Marcus said, "So what would have made the difference?" Arthur said, "One decision, made early, and protected. The decision that, before the lifestyle expands to meet the income, a fixed percentage of every raise goes to ownership, not savings. Ownership. Savings sit. Ownership compounds. At 26, you had margin. If at 26, when the first real raise arrived, you had directed 30% of every future income increase directly into compounding ownership, and refused to let your lifestyle touch that 30%, you would not have 4 months of runway today. You would have the beginning of something that runs without you. Instead, every raise went to life. Life expanded. Runway stayed at 4 months. Salary became the ceiling. Not because you earned too little, because the raise always arrived before the ownership did. Marcus did not make a dramatic change. He made a structural one. The following Monday, he set up a separate account, not a savings account, an ownership account, labeled that way deliberately, so he would see the word every time he looked at it. He directed 25% of his net monthly income into it, automatically, before any other decision was made about money. Then he did something he had never formally done. He spent 3 months learning what ownership actually meant at his income level. Not theory, specific instruments, specific assets, specific structures that generated income independent of his continued employment. He did not quit his job. He did not reduce his lifestyle dramatically. He did not make a reckless leap. He simply interrupted the mechanism that had been taking every pound of income growth and feeding it directly to the present, while starving the future. 2 years later, his ownership account had become something, not enormous, but compounding, generating income that did not require him to be present. He calculated his runway again, not 4 months, 19 months, and growing. The salary had not changed. What the salary was doing had. Arthur had said something that Marcus wrote on a card. The salary is not the trap. The relationship with the salary is the trap. The trap is believing that earning more is the same as building more. It is not. Earning more sustains more. Building more compounds more. And only one of those two things makes the salary optional. Here is what I want you to take from this story. Look at the last 3 salary increases you received. Every promotion, every raise, every bonus. Ask yourself honestly, what percentage went to building something that compounds? And what percentage went to sustaining something that needs the next salary to continue? Because the salary ceiling is not built by your employer. It is built by the relationship between your income and your ownership. And that relationship, unlike your salary, is entirely within your control. The question is not whether you earn enough to escape the salary. The question is whether you have decided, yet, to stop feeding all of it to the present. If this story made you look at your last raise differently, that is exactly what this channel is designed to do. Every week we go deeper into the psychology behind why some people build wealth, and why equally talented, equally hardworking people spend their careers getting raises and never getting free. Subscribe, because the next story might be the one that finally changes what you do with the next raise.